Hello everyone and welcome to my Malaysian Grand Prix preview. Now, I've already done my Australian Grand Prix review. It is on my channel. It is longer than this because this is simply looking at the next race, seeing what happens, seeing what it's about, and that kind of thing. In the background there's some F1 2012 footage. I won't be commentating on that, so don't expect me to commentate on that. Now, of course, the circuit is in Kuala Lumpur. It is the Sepang International Circuit, and this car suited the McLaren a lot last year because that McLaren was good in the high-speed turns. Of course, this year we're not really sure whether it's strong anywhere, but Red Bull will probably walk away with qualifying. I wouldn't expect that to change. And the race, well, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's 56 laps, 5.5 kilometre circuit, a circuit that I really like to drive around personally, but a circuit that I like to watch despite the fact that through the high-speed turns there's very little overtaking. Now, weather-wise, we saw the chaos that was the Australian Grand Prix with rain, not as in terms of crashes or weird overtakes or anything like that. Just because of the fact that qualifying was delayed, cancelled, and then we had it on the Sunday, and then that was still affected by rain. So that could happen in Malaysia. If anything, it has a higher probability than Australia of it happening. Then it has a higher possibility in Malaysia than happening in Australia. There we go. Now, the first Grand Prix was 1999, and the lap record is 134.223 from Juan Pablo Montoya in 2004. Don't expect anybody to get the lap record. I just want to point that out. The cars are nowhere near as powerful as they were back in those days, which personally is a shame. But yeah, in the way of safety, I guess it's an improvement for them to be slower. It's a bit more safe at slower speeds. The race distance 310 kilometres. I think that's longer than the Australian Grand Prix. Now, this is our first track circuit, as in it's an actual purpose-built track, unlike the Australian track, which is street. Now, this could have quite significant impacts because Red Bull's tyre wear could have been down to the fact that it was a street surface, so that it wasn't rubbered in as much. So we could see them potentially walking away with it, despite Raikkonen looking like he kind of walked away with it in Australia. That is how unpredictable I think it could be. But if Red Bull dominate, you know that the Raikkonen's win might be a flash in the pan, which is not good. Now, I personally like the double DRS that we had, although in Australia we had it last year. I think it's going to work well in Malaysia. Of course, out of turn 14 along the straight, then to the hairpin, then you get DRS on the other side. We could see some strategic placements, although we could end up with an easy overtake effectively with the person behind using the DRS to go right up close to the person in front, not diving down the inside in the hairpin, and just taking the outside line, getting a straight line speed, go straight past them before they've hit the DRS activation zone, and then they'll just carry on. So we could end up with some rather easy looking overtakes if it's dry. If it's not dry, then don't worry about it. Now, places where people will be, as in like certain cars will be strong. The Red Bull will probably be weakest in the first sector. This is relative, of course. It won't be the weakest car, but I'm just saying that's where it will be the weakest compared to the other cars, probably. Now, Malaysia, whoever's the guys who are really impressive around Malaysia, you'd have to say it would be Kimi Raikkonen. His first win came here in 2003. His first ever win, even, it was 2003 in Malaysia. Well-earned victory, I feel. I don't know if he's won it again after that. I'll quickly check. No, he hasn't won after that. but it is a great Grand Prix, and I expect a lot of action in it, so don't expect it to be boring. Tyres wise, it is the hards and the mediums, as far as I'm aware, which quite conservative, you may say, like the Australian Grand Prix was last year. But Malaysia is high tyre deg. I mean, hugely high tyre deg because of those high speed turns, because of the heat. Well, and of course rain doesn't affect that, but rain could affect the race strategy. Do I want to see a wet race? Kind of, because I have a feeling in the back of my head and in my gut that Red Bull will start to walk away with this championship, but I don't think they'll walk away with it just yet, because it was Raikkonen won in Australia. I just think that Red Bull it was unbelievably quick in qualifying, and I think they will unlock that potential in the race. So that's pretty much it from me. I hope you enjoyed this Malaysia Grand Prix preview. It wasn't as good as Australia because I didn't have as much to talk about. McLaren will not be switching to their new car. That's the biggest news, really. No, it won't be switching to their old car, which I thought they would do. But this has been Alex Saab, and I'll see you next time.